By noon, they had passed through and relieved the 2 regiments on the left, belonging to the 27th Division. The 2nd Division was diverted from its attack in order to mop up several enemy pockets which had infiltrated. Further resistance was met in a complicated network of communication trenches and caves in the cliffs from which the Japanese resisted with machine guns, hand grenades, and rifle fire. When enemy ammunition ran out, the Japs resisted with bayonets and swords attached to long sticks. Those who had no weapons used the sticks.
July 1944, D plus 2324. During the night, Oswego Airfield was attacked several times. One of the enemy aircraft fell victim to a P-47 in a night duel. Another of the enemy ships crashed into the sea as the result of hits by automatic weapons. A total of approximately 25 bombs were dropped during the night. No casualties were reported.
With only 3 square miles of ground remaining in enemy hands, the 4th Division and the 2nd Division started its final drive.
By this time, Japanese women and children were beginning to emerge from the caves in which they had taken refuge. Though some of the enemy military personnel were surrendering, the majority of the Japanese were fighting to the finish. Appeals to surrender were made to the enemy by natives through loudspeakers. Japanese propaganda, which convinced the natives that death was more desirable than surrender to the Americans, caused wholesale suicide off Saipan's sheer rocky cliffs.
There began then an inch-by-inch mop-up in which the enemy had to be cleaned out of caves, pillboxes, and holes. Dense undergrowth and rugged terrain forced the pace to become a slow one. Time and again, flame-throwing tanks scorched the enemy out of their hiding places. Demolition squads and small arms fire sometimes were the only means by which the enemy could be reached. By 1615, 9 July, D plus 25, conquest of Saipan Island was completed. Still remaining were mopping up operations against small, isolated groups. At 1000 of 10 July, the American flag was raised. The battle for Saipan was over.
The actual capture and destruction of enemy forces on Saipan was by no means concluded with the announcement that the island was secured on 9 July. For at least 3 weeks following that date, Japanese military personnel numbering between 50 and 150 each day, were captured or destroyed in the mopping up operations conducted by the Saipan garrison forces. Base development at the objective had been carried out unceasingly throughout the assault operations under the direction of the island commander. Effective mopping up operations took a heavy toll of enemy personnel, 7,783 being killed during the period of 9 July to 10 August. During the same period, 1,120 enemy were taken prisoner. On 20 July, the Cagman Peninsula airfield was completed and operational. Saipan played a vital role in the Tinian assault. The shore-to-shore movement for that phase was based on the southern beaches of Saipan and in Tanapag Harbor. The artillery, land-based air, and logistical support for both the Tinian and Guam operations were provided from Saipan. The 27th Infantry Division, originally in Corps Reserve on Saipan for the Tinian phase, was released to the temporary control of the island commander of Saipan on 29 July to expedite mopping up operations. On 10 August, Commander 5th Fleet announced that the capture and occupation phase of Saipan was completed, and accordingly, full command and responsibility for the development and defense of that base passed to its commander, and the island fell within the overall command of Commander Forward Area Central Pacific.